Welcome back to the Dragon's Well. I am your host, Maverick. This episode's going to be a little bit different than our usual format. Sprites is not with us today. He is helping to teach young minds about Jesus, and I applaud him for that. And so today we thought we'd do something a little different. We didn't want to skip a week. So today we have a special guest. I know we had talked about prior having some of our esports kids on here. So what I would like to do is introduce you to Degree. I know he's excited to be here, and what I'm thinking is we need to give him a shout out also for his Twitch channel. I think you can find him DegreeRecon on Twitch.
That's it.
So Degree, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you for letting me get on the podcast here. Been listening for a while, and I'm one of your esports kids. So it's good to be here. Feeling good.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. We're glad to have you. I wish Sprites could have been here for this interview. But like I said, he's tied up. He's busy.
Yeah.
And so he will be back for next week's episode. We're going to kind of dive into some of these rumors that are spreading. I want to kind of talk about which we may touch on today a little bit. So let's not spoil that.
All right.
So, guys, before we get really started on this, I want to remind you, please follow us on Twitter. We are at DragonsW Gaming. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook. We are Dragons Well Gaming on Facebook, as well as Instagram, which I think I started 2 days ago. So please check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever you enjoy. I personally like Twitter better. I think Elon's got a better handle on that than old Zuck.
Definitely.
But to each his own. I mean, if you like Facebook more, I mean, we're there, sending out news, sending out updates, trying to keep all this going. So let's Sprites and I always do this right at the beginning. So I always like to ask, kind of like what we've been playing for the week. So what have you been playing for this week?
So I downloaded a PC builder of one of the most classic games I think everyone has heard of, and if you haven't, you've been living under a rock. Super Mario 64.
Oh yeah.
I got a Nintendo 64 copy of the game and bought a $90 dumper. So what that means is you dump all the crucial files and everything from your game to your PC, and I rebuilt it. So I'm playing a remastered version of Super Mario 64 just for the nostalgia, because that's what I grew up on.
Imagine nostalgia being the Wii. Can you imagine that? I can't. Mine was the wood grain Atari.
Oh, I had Atari growing up. It just wasn't as good as Star Tropics. So.
I mean, there you go. So Mario 64, man, that brings back a lot of memories.
Yeah, they've completely remastered it. You can run it in 60 FPS 4K with ray tracing.
Oh, wow.
You can play as Luigi and Wario now, and there's some new elements added to the game, but it's still pretty much just the base game.
Right. So when we see that a lot, I saw something the other day. They were, it looked like somebody had. At first, I thought it was a mod, but then I actually kind of rolled through and got. I've been playing Legend of Zelda. I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom.
Absolutely.
I mean, I can't. I have to take breaks. So I'll play it for days, and then I'll take I'll take a couple days breaks. And guys, we are on like YouTube and Twitch. There's no content out there yet. My plan was to try to live stream a little bit. We had some tech issues, so that kind of went by the wayside. But I'm hoping that I can get that fixed, and by the weekend or the end of this week, we'll probably start live streaming on Twitch. So come follow us on Twitch, Dragons Well Gaming on Twitch. But in saying that, I was looking at somebody did this really, really cool Dragon Ball Z video where they found one of the dragons flying, and you know, it looks like Goku, like gliding down by the dragon, and they had the Chala, you know, intro song and stuff. It was awesome. But I thought it was a mod at first, and I saw where there were some mods, I think, and some, you know, lousy video editing, cutting stuff. But one of the things I noticed was it was funny because it was he had really long hair. You know, he was like Super Saiyan 3 Goku flying by this dragon. And I found out that I think all he did was to do the video was to, there's a shop where you can change the color of your outfits, of your armor and stuff. And so I think he just found certain armor that kind of matched. And then there's one where it looks like he's got really long hair. I can't remember what armor that is. I think it's the ruby armor. So like if you get hit, instead of losing health, you lose rubies, which kind of seems kind of counterproductive. But it was that, and I guess he had it dyed yellow, so he looked like Super Saiyan 3 Goku. It was awesome, man. So, but we did a little bit of that. That's about all I've been messing with. We did kind of look at some other stuff. Sprites and I were talking about. I know there's a college near to us that they've actually kind of reached out, and we're kind of helping build up their esports program.
Fun program.
Oh yeah. So I'm kind of looking forward to that, and I think we may be doing a live stream, hopefully. I think they're having a fall tournament, and so we may even try to pop on there and do some commentary. So if you want to come back and do some commentary, I know you've done that before for us.
Absolutely.
So we may have to set up a couple things and do some commentary. But, you know, one of the things I kind of want to go over with you today is, you know, a lot of the fans, I know a lot of our fans are a lot of our esports kids. And so, you know, just to kind of find out what you like and dislike about esports, I kind of put together a little interview. So if you're down, I'm going to ask you a couple questions.
Go ahead.
So how did you get involved in esports, and what sparked your interest in competitive gaming?
So that takes me back. I started at this school. Yeah. Not gonna say names.
All right.
But in 6th grade, where Maverick has taught me how to code, and like halfway through the year, we just dropped coding and played Super Smash Bros. About every single day.
We didn't do that every day. Come on now.
Oh, just about. But that really brought me to the competitive side of gaming, because before that, really all I had played was like split screen Black Ops with my cousins or Minecraft or stuff like that. I never really got into the competitive scene until I was introduced to Smash Bros. And from there, I mean, I just felt something, just a spark. I wanted to win. I wanted to be there. A couple years later, start talking to Maverick, and we have rumors of an esports program coming too. And I'm like, I want in. I want to compete. I want to do this. So I got my hands on my sister's Switch.
I remember that.
Yeah, I stole her Switch for about 2-3 months, or was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, the whole first year.
Yeah, it was the first year. Yeah.
Yeah, so stole her Switch for about the whole first year and got my own copy of Smash. And I mean, man, it was a fun journey. And then I got surprised with this beautiful, beautiful OLED from the man himself, Maverick. Well,
I mean, there were a lot of people involved in that.
Yeah, dude had me in tears, let me tell you what. But, yeah, esports is such a great program to be involved in, because I get to come together and meet all these people that are in my school and people outside of my school. In one of our competitions, I actually talked to the dude that I competed against to this day. He was in a
that's good.
friendship Overwatch or whatever.
Yeah,
but still talk to him to this day. So not only do I get to get closer with the people in my school that I don't talk to as much, but I also get to meet new people outside who I compete with.
Well, that's awesome. You know, like growing community and like building relationships outside of what we do, is something that's kind of important. And if anything, like our influence for other people, or maybe even their influence into us, will just make us a better team.
Yeah.
And so, I know this. Some of our listeners know this, but what games do you compete in, and what drew you to that particular game?
I compete in Overwatch 2. It's a 5v5 team-based game. You got escort payloads and whatnot, and capture the flag on type of maps. I play a very tanky character. I play 2 tanky characters. I mostly play Reinhardt and the poor. My man will never be the same, Roadhog. Justice for Roadhog. # Justice for Roadhog.
Yeah, for sure.
I want that old hook back. It's just not the same anymore.
It's not, man. And the thing is like with Roadhog, I was just starting to play as Roadhog, and then when they did that to him, it was just that was my one tank I could play with.
I mean, you used to be like, why can I not one shot at freaking Tracer anymore? Like, she's sitting here teleporting at 8 different angles at the same time, and I can't one tap her anymore.
Right, yeah. Well, and that's the thing, like, but between the long shots from Ash and the Tracer sneaking up, behind you, and
deadly combo.
Oh yeah, man. We played. Just spoiler for you, and any of the Overwatch kids listening. We are looking at probably trying to get all this set up and tryouts started pretty soon. I know when Sprites gets back, we're gonna start practicing, and we did practice the other night. It was horrible.
How'd that go?
It didn't go well. I think we ended up winning, but it was, and then they dropped us into something that was, wasn't, like the match was pretty much over. So we took a L on that one. But
you win some, you lose some. And just SBMM is different these days.
Well, and that's kind of So you don't typically think about, well, most people don't think about training like when it comes to video games and stuff. But do you have like a typical training routine, or like do you specify how many hours a day that you dedicate to practice?
Oh, well, it just depends. So for last year, I had a really good team. I mean, I could talk to these dudes all the time, and in a matter of seconds, they would respawn. Hey, yeah, we're going to practice today. So it would range between like 5 to 6 hours of practice, just like nonstop, having a good time. And then, we'd like switch it up and play ranked and be all serious. But with this year, I haven't really talked to my teammates that much. I'm going to start doing that this month. Last month, I've been working on a little project at home. But, so if I'm playing solo, I usually like to tend to not rage. So I keep it to like 2 to 3 games at a time. And then I'll go do something for like 5-10 minutes, get my mind off the game, but still think about it. Still think about strategies, like what to do on what maps and whatnot. And like why, if I lost the game, why did I lose the game, and what can I do to fix that?
So I'm gonna put you on the spot. Are you gonna stick with Overwatch in the fall, or are you?
I'm going to stick with Overwatch.
Okay.
Our little Mac main from Smash has been begging me to come back to Smash, and I mean, like, it doesn't matter what game we play. He's just like, I need you back on Smash, like now, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna play Overwatch.
Yeah, right. Well, maybe he should try out for Overwatch.
He should, because he's.
I would hate to lose my little Mac main, by the way, but.
I think he could do really good, because I see our little. I'm just gonna call him Little Mac. I see Little Mac, and he has a competitive sport to him. I mean, when he wants something, he will go out there and get it.
Absolutely.
I mean, he didn't even have a Switch at the time, and he stole somebody's. Quote unquote stole. He had permission.
He did borrow. He borrowed his Switch,
and he he can beat me, and I was not to humble anyone or anything, but I was like second best in the esports program next to Sprites.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably right.
He beat me in a matter of like 2 weeks of practicing, and that beat me down, even though I wasn't even in Smash anymore. But I see competitive striving, and I think if he did Overwatch, he'd do really good.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and that's the thing. I don't know. I know we've got a lot of people signed up. I don't know how many people are going to make it through tryouts. I would love to have 2 Overwatch teams, but I need to keep my Smash team, and we actually may have enough equipment this year to do maybe 2 Smash teams and Overwatch. I'm not sure yet.
I'll finally be on that PS5, so no more like below 60 frames a second on my PS4 while everyone's running PS5.
Are you getting a PS5?
I am getting a PS5.
Are you really?
Buying my own.
Nice. So you've been working this summer?
Yep. I think I've got just over $600 right now just from working all summer. So
good deal.
I'm gonna use that and fix up my little project at home, and then buy me a PS5 and never worry about life again.
Look at you go. Well, and I know that we had some like Wi-Fi issues in here last year. But we're gonna fix that actually, because I'm replacing. I think the problem was we had 2 APs.
Yeah.
And one of them was working great, and then I think y'all were connecting to the other one that was a little further away. That's not so great, and so I'm actually replacing that one this summer. And so we'll have, you'll be on 2 good APs. Plus, if we can do it, we'll wire you up and you'll be good to go. But yeah, I'm down. I'm excited for this season. So, another question that kind of comes to mind when so what kind of challenges have you faced as an esports player, and how do you overcome them? I know like grades and things like that are always something that
definitely grades. Geometry is not the most forgiving subject in this school, but
it's everywhere. I was horrible at geometry. Now, algebra I could do. Geometry was a completely different beast.
I will say this: esports has changed me as a person, because before, like, I'd get a 60 in algebra an algebra or geometry, and I'd be like, I don't care. I mean, it's not gonna hurt me. Oh well, I got one bad grade. But now that I'm in esports and theater, and something is on the line, like if I don't do this, no pass, no play.
Yeah.
I have a reason to go to tutorials, to show up to school early and learn about what I'm doing, and show up after school and fix test grades and like actually worry about my grades.
Right.
And another challenge is just Wi-Fi, man. You got good Wi-Fi, you got bad Wi-Fi. When your parents are like, go to your grandma's house and you can practice there, and you're running like 234 ping and you're sitting right by the Wi-Fi, it goes kind of crazy.
Well, and I'll say that, just rural internet in general is not good. Now, I do know that there's supposed to be some fiber dropped in the area. I don't know how far it's going to come out.
Here's to hoping.
We're going to get a little political here. Biden, he came out and he said, "Oh, everybody needs internet. It's a necessity now."
Yeah.
I mean, and political biases aside, I will say yes. This is internet is. I know a lot of people disagree. They'll say that internet to a lot of people is not a necessity, and I do think kids need to get outside a little bit more. Now, this is coming from a gaming podcast, but I also work in IT, and I believe that social media is what is keeping us from being social.
Yeah.
Actually getting out. And I remember a time when the family would get together and we would all sit around the table on Sundays and eat and visit, and the cousins would play, and we didn't have things like what y'all have grown up with.
I had the experience that it'll probably happen again, but I haven't had it in so long. We had a little 4th of July party yesterday, and
yeah.
Uncle Jeff came over. He only comes around like every once a year, but he's moving into my great grandmother's old house when she passed away. So they've been remodeling everything. So Uncle Jeff comes over, and we have this huge dinner. I mean, it is just so good. We got steaks, ribs, mac and cheese, salad, the whole bunch. Like, I mean, there was so many plates. We had to move plates from the kitchen and the dining room into the living room because we couldn't eat on the tables in the dining room.
Yeah.
So we had like salad and whatnot in the living room, just chilling there. But we ate, and then the adults played their board games inside, and I'm like the oldest kid there, or teen there, but
that's how I was growing up. Minus my older cousin, who's 1 year older than I am. I was like the, I was the, the one that everybody looked up to, or the one that, you're because as the oldest, I mean, everybody tends to either look up to you or, so I mean, you can make or break that person.
But I'm out there, and it's just 7 of my cousins, and I talked to Uncle Jeff, and he's like, go out there and try and have fun. And I thought about it for a second. I did, and I mean, I had the time of my life.
Yeah.
I played cornhole with them. I taught some of them how to play basketball. We even did a little Roman candle tag.
Oh yeah. That's always good.
Yeah.
Not probably the best thing to play, but
I gave him some bike helmets, face protection.
Yeah. Well, see, we didn't do Roman candles. We always did bottle rockets.
Oh, ooh.
Yeah. Until it went under the vehicle one time, and I mean, thankfully nothing happened. I mean, we just dumb kids.
Yeah.
But it happens. Everybody's got to do that every once in a while.
Yeah, but I feel like more kids nowadays should get outside and just enjoy life for what it is.
I agree. I do. I think that's one of the big things that, but go outside and listen to the podcast.
Oh yeah. Put your beats on, walk the dogs, listen to the podcast.
Yeah, listen to the podcast.
Dragon Ball Gaming on Spotify.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, please listen on Spotify. Apple is doing, and I love Apple products. I love Apple for the most part as a company, but Apple Podcasts is doing nothing for us. So if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, switch over to Spotify. Help us out. So let's see. I'm looking. I'm like, you already answered that. So this is a good question. Have you encountered any stereotypes or misconceptions about esports? And if you have, how do you respond to them?
People, like a bunch of people in our school, like upbeat, not city, but like mostly country folk.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've had video games as kids, but like not an esports program. So like the stereotypical thought, you see an esports kid and you're like, wow, that dude's a nerd. Like, he probably smells.
Yeah.
But one of our most athletic kids was in esports, and that dude destroyed us.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, with stereotypes, you just gotta. Everyone's different. I mean, I know that you can see some stereotypes. You come in here, and I mean, there is a bunch of nerds. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I'm a nerd. But it's all around a chill place. If you're not a nerd,
yeah. Right.
But yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, Sprites and I have always wanted everyone to feel, like welcome into the program, things like that. And I tend to, because this what we're talking about, this stereotype or misconceptions, I mean, a lot of people think that, they might walk into here when we're playing and they're like, oh, well, they're not really doing anything. They're not, playing any, doing anything productive or whatever. But what I see from the program and what we've kind of seen, take hold is that, like, the competitive drive you were talking about. I love to see people try to get the best out of themselves as they can. And if esports is what does it, I mean, if our program is helping you or anybody else to think about their grades a little more and make better grades. I care less how you do in the game. I mean, as long as if you're making yourself better, if you're being a better person, if esports is making you a better person, man, I would do it all over again. I would make it, I would make it work out, and we'd start this program all over again.
Absolutely.
I think it's important that, in rural areas, you don't see a lot of this. They don't see all of the lights and shows and things that they see in like the bigger cities and stuff like that. But not only is there money to be made in this, but this is such a broader area that a lot of people don't think about. From esports, not only are you team building and you're building that competitive nature, you're you're trying to make good grades, you're working hard not only in school but in practice, and then you're also getting experience in, for example, this podcast would not exist without things that we have done within esports. And so with esports, we have not only grown as a group. Our numbers have gone up. I think we have like 25 kids signed up this year for esports. Not only
insane numbers for us, by the way.
Eventually we'll have more than the basketball team.
Oh yeah, it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
and
so we just have to find enough days for everybody to play on, enough games. There's plenty of variations out there of games that we've kind of dabbled into Splatoon a little bit. Looked at that, Mario Kart, Overwatch, Smash.
They even got League on there.
Even got League.
One of our esports kids. Proud of him if he does it. Yeah, I'm proud of him if he doesn't. Madden.
Oh, hey, yeah.
Sports games on there.
Yeah, because we can't.
If he can ball out on Madden, I'm all for it.
Oh, yeah. I'm absolutely for it.
You just got to get that PS4 version.
yeah, for sure. Well, they may bump it up to PS5 this year. I don't know.
Hopefully.
What they're it's just PS5s were too hard to get at the time, so they just chose a PS4 version.
I can walk up to GameStop today and buy a PS5.
Oh, yeah. Well, and see, that's the thing. It's weird because, you don't think about esports as being something that can grow all of this. I've got this year we're talking about growing our Twitch stream and doing some live streams of our games. And if we do that, then then you're getting experience in video editing or video content creation and things like that. So it's not just the video game aspect of it. And
there's so much more tied into it.
And I'm excited to look at some of that stuff. So got two more questions. What advice would you give to someone who is considering pursuing a career or involvement in esports?
Definitely make sure that what hardware you have, you can play on that hardware without a problem. You can move it from like your house to the school or wherever you're playing without nothing happening to it. If it's a school involved like esports group, make sure you keep your grades up, pay attention in class, don't get in trouble. Definitely don't get in trouble, because if you do something, you act up, and one of your teachers knows you're in esports, so they're going to be like, oh, okay, you want to act up in my class? I'm just going to send a quick email, and then, boom, you're done for. Yeah. So keep the good activities up.
You act like your coach is unforgiving.
Oh, he's not. Thank you, Coach Maverick. There's been plenty of times I've walked in here, he's like, I got an email, don't do it again. I'm like, sir, yes, sir.
I try not to be too rough on y'all, but we do have to hold. Everybody has to be accountable. I tell my kids all the time, I'm like, look, if dad doesn't go to work, or if dad goes to work and doesn't do a good job, there are consequences.
Yeah.
Dad doesn't do it enough. Daddy no longer has a job.
Same premise here. If you go into esports, you don't show up, or you show up and you don't do good, could be consequences.
Yeah.
Mostly if you don't show up. If you show up and you don't do good, but you start improving, you're good.
Yeah. So, and we kind of already talked about this, touched a little bit on it. How do you stay motivated and continue to improve your skills as an esports player? So, and when I say stay motivated, I'm saying let's say we have a which we did. Let's say we have a bad couple weeks, and you take some L's, and team kind of starts to not necessarily fall apart, but kind of. What do you do as one of the teammates to try to pull everybody back together? And to get the team motivated again, I guess.
Put us in a situation. Say we lose a game. It's a terrible game. I mean, we get absolutely destroyed. I'd go home, hit everyone up, and I'm like, all right, forget about what just happened. Or, like, forget the attitude you have about what just happened. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to see it. Nothing. Get rid of that attitude completely, and we're going to sit here and practice straight ranked until we physically can't no more, or until everyone has to get off. Because the best way to go about taking L's is to learn from it. So I'll reflect on like what I did. I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't heal here, or I didn't hold a shield up long enough to protect you, or something like that. And then I'll practice on that, especially against these randoms that we're playing against at home.
Right. Well, good deal. And so, to your future teammates, you got any words of encouragement for your future? You have no idea who your Overwatch team is going to be this year. We do know that you are on it because you helped us out earlier this summer, and told y'all if y'all helped out, I'd give you a spot on whatever team you wanted. So
future words of encouragement: you can play other games, just don't let it take over your life.
Yeah.
If you're gonna play esports, practice the game at home. I mean, sure, you might be able to come up here and only practice at the school and do decently. But if you don't go home and put in the work, and I understand if you can't, but if you can and you don't go home and put in the work, then it's gonna show. And everyone will notice.
Well,
I know this.
And it's going to be on you, too, because, I mean, especially in a team-driven game like Overwatch, I mean, if one person's... I mean, you're only as strong as the weakest link.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the chain metaphor. I mean, you're only as strong as that weakest person on the team. So if that person is not going home and not practicing and not, putting in the time, it's going to show game day. And so, I mean, that would be my encouraging words, is just, I know new games come out all the time. That's why, we created this podcast to talk
Final
about
Fantasy
new games.
go crazy.
Oh, yeah. Final Fantasy 16 is awesome.
Played the demo at my cousin's house.
Oh, it was good, wasn't
it?
Yes.
So good.
I hated it ended. And then now, but and kind of go into that topic, I kind of feel like now I need to unhook the PlayStation, bring it out, vacuum it out and everything before I actually get Final Fantasy, because I heard it's burning up PlayStations. And I've had mine for a while, so...
you take as many precautions as possible.
Oh yeah. So if you're playing Final Fantasy 16, please vacuum out your system before you get into some intense heat and melt your $600 PS5.
And if you don't know how, there's plenty of guides online and on YouTube. You can follow them step by step. It's not that hard of a process. You just got to be careful and keep liquids away from the PlayStation.
Oh yeah, for sure. So, kind of getting off the interview, we always try to, I always like to try to trigger sprites, and we're not doing that today, okay. Obviously. But something that has been triggering me a little bit is, have you looked at any of the Nintendo Switch 2 rumors?
Okay, I have. So, the biggest source from about the Nintendo Switch rumors comes from a Twitter user in Spain. His name is Weedles, and he has claimed that dev kits have landed in Spain and that they're only being used with pro controllers so that they don't leak the new controllers. And I kind of trust this guy because he's done a couple of leaks in the past. He leaked some Mario Kart 8 DLC. He did some Metroid Prime leaks, and I mean they all came out to be true.
Okay, so I don't know if you know this or not, but so what I read was the company that did Metroid Dread is actually based out of Spain, is what I think I remember reading. So so now all these rumors have popped up about, okay, so they're testing the new dev kit on the new side-scrolling Metroid game, like Dread 2 or whatever. You know, it's not going to be called Dread, but the new side-scrolling Metroid game, which, I mean, as a Metroid fan, excites me, but also I think, you know, we've had leaks before with NVIDIA, you know, the new Tegra chip and all these new NVIDIA improvements and all this stuff. And not to say that something like that may not be in the new Switch, but, you know, I mean, even Bloomberg came out. I mean, they put their reputation on the line and were like, hey, this is coming out, announcement, this, you know. And here we are like a year and a half later from that, and I just wonder if it's not a YouTube hype. You know, yeah. I think everybody's Nintendo news has been slow.
Oh yeah.
I think it's clickbait. And I think that as much as I want to trust this guy, and do I think there's dev kits out there? I'm sure Nintendo's sending dev kits out.
Probably.
But what's gotten blown out of proportion is now they're saying, oh, you know, July they're going to announce they're going to announce the new Switch. I'm like, there's no way.
Nintendo has come out and said that they will not announce a new Switch next year financially, because we're still working on all these new games and whatnot.
Well, and then after the Direct, I mean, they had numerous games that are, I mean, they said we're coming to Switch.
The Switch, it's been out for a while, don't get me wrong. It still has games that can come out for it before everything is just, like, below hardware that it can run.
Yeah, I mean, and I know, like Hogwarts Legacy, you know, that I think they finally came out and said that that's not coming to Switch.
Yeah,
they decided.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, and which is a good game, and
it's just not for the Switch.
It's not. I mean, if it would have come out for the Switch, I probably would have gotten it for Switch, because I tend to, like my longer RPG type games like that, I tend to 100% them. So I'm a big Lego fan. Like, love all the Lego games.
Absolutely. And that's what I grew up on. Lego Lord of the Rings.
Right, yeah. And so they look better on PS5 and stuff, but man, I just, like, if I have it on Switch, it's easier to pick up. I can take it with me. I can 100% it. No, yeah.
You're waiting on your wife in Walmart, and then she taking way too long getting some eggs. So you pull up the Lego game, you start balling out.
Yeah. I don't have that problem. We do grocery pickups.
Not my family. No, I'm always in the car playing like Borderlands or something on my Switch.
Yeah,
catching up on the latest game that I get.
Well, and that's the thing, you know. I mean, my library, my Switch library, and so my esports kids will.
I've seen it. It is kind of crazy. Let me tell you what, Buster.
Look, I have spent a lot of money on my Switch games, but I have finished them, most of them. I think there's about 15 that I haven't finished.
I think what you do is healthy. You know, the backlog.
Yeah.
Keeping, like, I bought this game. I'm gonna finish it.
Yeah. Well, and this year, you know, I did I know I told Sprites, and I probably told y'all too, that I was only buying 5 games this year.
Yeah.
And so Tears of the Kingdom was my 5th game, which is really bad because, you know, Final Fantasy came out, Advance Wars came out, and after playing it, like going back and playing it on DS, I really want Advance Wars. And then Fire Emblem Engage. Now we've got, Mario Wonder. All these games come out. So like January 1st. I'm dropping like $300 on video games.
January 1st, you buying all 5 games.
Oh yeah. We're gonna have to do like 20 or something for next year. I think I'm gonna do something like
this
20.
year. We're gonna bump it up a little. As many games as I please.
Yeah. I mean, and like the kids will want stuff. I know that one of them's wanting Detective Pikachu, and one of them's wanting Super Mario, and we'll see when that time comes. But
not yet, little one.
Yeah, right. Well, and so with the Switch rumors, I'm kind of on the fence. I want to believe it. I don't think there's an announcement coming. I don't think we'll get an announcement. My original comment on all this was that we would get a release date. They would announce it this year, give us a release date for 2024. Now I'm actually even further in that. I think we'll get an announcement
like 2025.
I could
maybe
see
late 2024.
I could see an early 2024 announcement if the games that are scheduled to come out in 2024 are if they are actually coming out early 2024. What I see happening is those games come out, because you don't want to say like, hey, this game's coming out for Switch, and then the next week we're like, hey, we got Switch 2 coming out, and then everybody's gonna be like, no,
we got Switch 2. It's not cross compatible with your games though. So.
Well, okay, so there is a rumor to that. Nintendo, this isn't a rumor. Nintendo actually came out and said that the Nintendo account, your Nintendo account, would work on the updated system. So essentially, what it sounds like, and a lot of people are reading into this, that digital library will be accessible on the new hardware.
Absolutely. I love it already.
I'm good with that, but the problem is if my physical library is not, I'm in trouble, because I buy physical content because my kids. I'm going to buy one copy of Splatoon 3, and we're all three going to play it, or two of us in the house will play it. We'll buy one copy of Super Mario, and then three of us will play it, you know. Because, this podcast, I appreciate all my listeners, and but until this starts growing a good bit, I can't be buying 3 copies, or we get that Nintendo sponsorship or whatever, where they're sending us free games. Please,
Nintendo, just hook us up real quick. I know you're listening.
Yeah, you absolutely please hook us up. So last topic of the day, I guess. What do you think about the current court situation between PlayStation and Xbox?
Oh, the Microsoft FTC. So, I have been watching this for a while now, and this is the biggest court case the biggest case in video game history, probably since the Apple versus Epic,
or Sega versus Nintendo.
Yeah. But this is so big. The claims that Microsoft came out and said that we can outbuy PlayStation with our revenue. And that's crazy that they just throw that out there. And the FTC siding with PlayStation. Think about it. Microsoft, if they buy Call of Duty, they said it's still going to stay on PlayStation consoles. It would still stay there. And even Nintendo would get a 10-year contract of the game. And now PlayStation and FTC thinks it's going to become a monopoly. But you look at PlayStation, they got games like Spider-Man Lockdown. You can't buy these new Spider-Mans on any other platform unless they release it on Steam, which is what they've done with Miles Morales and Spider-Man Remastered, or God of War, or stuff like that. And they're charging $80-$70 for these games.
Well, but so there are specific studios that they, so Uncharted, for example.
Yeah.
PlayStation exclusive, Naughty Dog worked on it. I'm trying to think of what else. like you said, God of War. God of War is locked down to PlayStation. It's also a Sony character.
And the new Final Fantasy is only coming out on PlayStation.
Now, see, that's something that does shock me because Square in the past has worked with Xbox. I know there were Final Fantasy games on Xbox 360.
Yeah, I played some.
I feel like, when they got Bethesda, and when Microsoft bought Bethesda, I think we kind of saw the writing on the wall what they would do. Now they have Starfield. Yeah. Massive game. Oh. Only coming to Xbox. Yeah. Now, I did see some stuff that only about 30 to 40%, I think, is the number. I'll have to double check that and fact check myself on that, but I think it was about like 40% of the planets are actually inhabited and actually have life on them, and the other like 60% whatever are not. They have no life on them whatsoever. Yeah. They're just like barren planets, which is kind of weird, to build this huge thing and system of but not only fill like a third to 40% or so of the planets with life. That kind of seems a little, maybe they're going to do something with some DLC or something later. Yeah. But, they've both taken shots at each other. PlayStation's actually taken shots at Nintendo. They say that, Switch owners are not interested in Call of Duty. Well, I mean, I am a story-driven Call of Duty person. I don't like to play online with all y'all sweats. I don't like to do all that.
The campaigns have always been like a little thing for like if I get tired, or what used to be, if I get tired of multiplayer or zombies, I'd go to the campaign. But now, when I get the game, that's the first thing I do. I play the campaign. I beat it through all that. I do hardened, and then whatever the hardest difficulty is after you beat it on hardened, and I get all the achievements that I can, figure out all the little Easter eggs and secrets and whatnot that they've got stashed around the game, especially with Modern Warfare 2's campaign. And most of these missions are just so big, and there's literally so many different routes that you can take. Right. I actually enjoyed playing the story mode, but to say that for Sony to come out and say that Nintendo players don't want Call of Duty, it's kind of iffy.
And that's the thing. They've both been taking shots, and even to the point where like Activision Blizzard was like, well, we didn't think that Switch players would, or we didn't. So Activision Blizzard actually said that we didn't think the system would sell well in the beginning. Okay, so 7 years later, you're still not making a Call of Duty, even though you make a Call of Duty every year. You're still not making it for Switch. See, that to me is it's just an excuse. Like, they've had the opportunity for, okay, so let's say they didn't think this system was going to sell well. Let's say they thought, in business sense, that 2 years was the max that they thought the system was going to be successful. Okay, well, after the first 2 years, they should have known from all of Nintendo's financials. I mean, they should the writing's on the wall. I mean, what's happening is Nintendo's blowing them out of the water. Yeah. PlayStation doesn't want Nintendo to get that 10-year contract with Activision Blizzard because, then, which Xbox and Nintendo have had a pretty decent, relationship as far as, I mean, and PlayStation and Sony. I mean, PlayStation and Nintendo have had a decent relationship,
fairly good,
because they didn't think they were a competitor. But if you look at the financials, I mean, they're blowing Xbox and PlayStation out of the water. I mean, you can't touch Nintendo right now.
Oh yeah, no.
Now, if their new system is like the Wii U, then
back to just Xbox and PlayStation.
Yeah, right. I mean, now I had a Wii U. I love my Wii U. For those that hate on the Wii U, I mean, I did have one, and I enjoyed it. Marketing, gaming, the games just weren't there. The marketing wasn't there for it. Nintendo just failed on those spots. I think if they would have done better, it would have But again, I'll go back to this. My Wii U is the only place I can play my Metroid Prime trilogy.
Oh, well, yeah.
Which, I mean, I know we got the remaster, but 2 and 3 should be coming out, I hope, soon. And for anybody that hadn't played Metroid Prime, the remaster, it is amazing. It looks amazing. It plays amazing. They've done so many extra things that make it look nice that, it just, you need to go pick it up. It's never going to go on sale, so just go spend the $40 and pick it up.
Before we end out here, I want to throw a little personal bias at Activision real quick. I mean, I think Activision needs to get their stuff together. If you look at Modern Warfare 2019 and Warzone, it was good in the beginning, and then you had about like midway through its lifetime, just hackers and sweats and skill-based matchmaking just was not it. And then the same thing happened with Modern Warfare 2. I mean, since release, it's been this gem that is just covered.
Well, I'm even hearing that the new Overwatch season has
it's not there.
Has hurt a lot of the matchmaking skill.
And Activision is being like selfish right now. So there was this not a company, but like a band of gamers that were coming together and making this thing called SM2, which was going to take the old Modern Warfare 2's engine and bring like Black Ops 1, like every single old game into that engine, and it was like no cross-platform, and it was free to play as long as you had those games installed and like purchased. And Activision shut it down completely. They put a cease and desist order on it, and I mean it's been in the making since before Modern Warfare 2019, and it's just so much potential in that game. And I can see what's happening here. Activision sees that their current game is just not doing it for them. Like they're barely keeping up as is with updates, and they see this, and this is a threat to their business because their games are so lackluster right now. Yeah. And so they're like, this is gonna be amazing. This is gonna be such a good game, but it's hurtful to us, and we don't even use our old IPs anymore, so we're just gonna cease it.
Well, and one of the things I see with Call of Duty is that there are games every year, and it's like Ubisoft and Activision, and
I think if they would, instead of do the yearly release, this has been controversial. I am a huge part of the COD community. I've always loved COD, grew up on COD, but something I've always believed in since like I gained consciousness of this is that if they would just stop the yearly releases, listen to the community, and do something like spend 2 or 3 years on like Black Ops 2 Remastered, their financial would go through the roof. Oh yeah, the game would blow up. Everyone would love it. If they'd stop trying to compete with other games and do what the community wants, it would work in their favor, and it would blow other games out of the water.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. You see games like, Call of Duty makes Activision a ton of money every year, and Madden's the same way. Like, I mean, you can only improve so much.
Like, if you take a look at Modern Warfare 2019, think about like the gunsmith and the weapons, and then you take a look at Modern Warfare 2. The only thing that has changed is that there is a couple new guns, and now you can tune your attachments. Yeah, that's it. Something else like the menus, the UI. I hate Modern Warfare 2's UI. It's like a Hulu menu. I can't. I'm being so dead serious. You have to go through like 3 menus to go invite your friend, and then another menu to get in your settings, and then another menu to get in your voice chat to mess with all that. I want to go back like Black Ops 2. You load into multiplayer. You've got multiplayer, custom game, theater, COD TV, barracks, leaderboards, all that, and it's just in one line. And you scroll to it, you click A. Or your friends list, you click Y or you click triangle, boom, your friends list is right there. Yeah. You invite your friends right there. Everything's gotten so complicated. I don't see why we've transferred to the funny thing about me saying the Hulu thing The UI was worked on by ex-Hulu employees.
Oh, there you go.
On the and so you can see what they did there. Like, it worked in the past. Let's do it again.
Well, I mean, that's like when Microsoft. That's when Microsoft lost me. When Xbox lost me, I don't know, man. When Xbox lost me, when they changed the Xbox One menu to a more Windows 8.
Oh, yeah.
Because at the time I was working in a different place, and man, Windows 8 was giving us all kinds of problems at work. And so I'd come home and I'd turn my Xbox on, and I'd look at that menu, and I'm like, it's just disgusting.
Like, and they're still doing. So I have my Xbox. I do beta testing on.
Yeah,
I've been beta testing for Xbox since like 2017. Since like Project X Cloud was a thing.
Yeah, right.
And like through the years, I know of like 7 different huge changes in the menu when like the original menu was perfect.
Yeah.
It was there. It worked. The community liked it. And then the community gave backlash to Microsoft when they changed it. And they're like, we don't care. We're making the money you're not, big buster.
Yeah, right. Well, I don't know, man. I think that there's going to be some turnout for this. I'm kind of curious to see where this all goes in the end.
It would be kind of fun to see COD on Game Pass. That would bring a lot of new people to the community, because I know a lot of people who use Game Pass like daily. It's $15 subscription every month, and you get all these games. But I can definitely see the fear in the eyes of PlayStation.
Well, yeah, because they'd be losing one of their biggest.
And I mean, Game Pass Ultimate, the biggest subscription is $14.99, and I'm looking at some of these subscriptions on PlayStation, and they're just like up there in prices.
They are, but it's not. But you do get, and that's one of my complaints to Sony. I love my PlayStation.
Oh,
but,
same here.
Yeah, but one of my complaints is that to get access to, like PS1 era games and stuff, it does get expensive. I do think it's like $120 a year or something like that.
Yeah, and you look at Xbox, and like most of the older game, like you can boot up games from the Duke Xbox on your Xbox One for free. Like if you have it, you can pop the disc in. It'll read it and say, oh, hey, this is backwards compatible. You can play this. And it'll install and you can play it. But if Sony would do that, I guarantee they could blow Xbox out of the water. Because there's just so much stuff on PlayStation that's better than Xbox.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. The Uncharted series is one of the things that I absolutely love. And between that and, God of War obviously is it's outsold, the prior games, and great series, great storytelling. I know Sony did say something about the storytelling would always be, they're never going to get rid of their single player campaign stuff, which is great.
If you're listening, Sony, like producers, anyone, thank you for that. I appreciate you, my guy.
Well, and that's the thing, and not going too much further into all this, but I'm hoping to see some good news out of this. I think they're just at each other's throats, and it's always going to be like that. I don't think they're ever going to get away from this. And like my final question, I guess, would be, how does all of this tie into esports competitions?
It just depends. Like, if they do bring out, if this Activision deal does go down, and something to Overwatch happens, like maybe you can't play it on PlayStation anymore, we could completely lose Overwatch. Because I know most of the people in here either play on Switch or PlayStation. We could completely lose that. Well,
and that's the thing, like we're at a disadvantage anyways, because Overwatch is, I think a lot of our Overwatch players were PC based. Yeah. And so being on a console, we're already at a disadvantage, but then playing on Switch, where you're locked at 30 frames and you can't get that upgraded frame rate that you needed, that you need on a console.
So, like, casual players, let me just tell you this. Frame rate matters in a competitive game. You need it. And Switch does not offer that on Overwatch.
No, unfortunately they don't. Now maybe Switch 2? I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
We'll see.
Here's to hoping.
We'll leave it on a positive note. Switch 2, Overwatch, 60 frames. That'd be awesome.
Overwatch 3, 120 frames.
Hey, look, I mean, if we even get an Overwatch 3, I know. But, well, guys, I guess that's about the end of it. I want to thank Degree for popping on and filling in for Sprites today. I think we had some good conversations.
Thank you for the invitation.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoyed it. I love.
But I didn't hear. I never heard from him. I reached out. I never heard from him. So,
I think he's in Florida right now.
Florida?
Yeah. Because he called me the other day. He's like, yo, when I get back from Florida, you want to go watch Oppenheimer? I was like, sure. He's like, okay. See you, dude. Bye.
Oh, okay. That's why he's ghosting me. All right. Thanks, Ace. You enjoy your time in Florida. And again, guys, I want to remind you again, follow us on Twitter at DragonsW Gaming, Facebook, Instagram.
If you follow on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, you will be a Dragons W.
Oh, yeah.
Big W to you.
Big W to you. You be hooking us up for the win.
Absolutely.
But guys, I always we always like to we want your feedback. We want to know if we're doing something right, we're doing something wrong. Post comments. Reply to us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I don't check it as much as I should, but we both, Sprites and I, both have a job. And we're trying to work a full-time job, and then Sprites has two, actually, being a minister. But we try to juggle this. That way we can give you guys some good content and things, some family-friendly stuff. But please reach out. I may not respond immediately, but know that we are watching it. We are trying to keep up, and we would like to hear from you guys. But reach out to us on any of those socials. Leave comments in the comment section. We're going to, Sprites and I have been talking about it for a while. Try to go to video one day. May start posting some of this on our YouTube channel, just the podcast with a logo or something to kind of get us on YouTube as well. But if you have prayer requests, anything like that, please reach out. And with that, I guess if you don't have anything else, I'll lead us in prayer.
Go ahead.
Okay. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this wonderful day that you've given us, sun shining and just all of your wonder, Lord. We can see with our eyes. God, I pray that you just bless our listeners. You bless this podcast, Lord, every day. And I thank you for the listeners, and I thank you for the platform that we have to reach out and just spread your word, Lord. God, we ask that you please be with our listeners, be with the ones that may need you. Maybe they're having a difficult time. Maybe they're sick. Lord, just put your hand on them. Let them know that you're with them. God, I want to thank you for this opportunity that we had today. I thank you for Degree showing up and being on the podcast. And we also want to lift up Sprites and his family, Lord, and just know that they are doing your work. And we really appreciate that. God, we thank you and we love you. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Well, if that's it, again, man, thanks for coming on, and we'll try to get you on again. I think we're going to get a couple new mics and stuff, so if that's it.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening. I hope y'all have a great day, and I'll see y'all later.
Peace out.